This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Kazakhstan again, joined by Bob Arum here. They've given you your own office here, Bob.
Oh, they've treated me extraordinarily well. I've really enjoyed my time in this country. It was one of the last countries that I ever thought that I would visit, but now that I have, I'm really pleased that I've come.
Very hospitable the Kazakhs are here, I'm sure you've found as well.
Yeah, they're very hospitable and they're very friendly, and they haven't, I think, been around Westerners very much. The influence here, other than the Kazakh, is Russian, because obviously Kazakhstan was part of the old Soviet Union for many years and became an independent country in 1991, which was a very, very short time ago.
Just some updates from you, Bob. I know we only spoke 3 days ago, roughly. Michael Conlan's opponent in Nikitin, the much anticipated rematch, obviously from the amateurs, is no longer happening on August the 3rd. In comes Diego Ruiz. So can you talk to me a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, well, I received a call from Igor Klimas, Nikitin's manager. Nikitin had already been brought over from Russia to the United States and was training vigorously for the Conlan fight, a fight, by the way, which Nikitin thought that he would win, and he tore a bicep in his arm, which was sufficiently severe that the doctor said that he couldn't participate in the fight. So Igis has sent him back to Russia for the repairs. Hopefully, sometime from now we can do that fight, but obviously for now it's off. And so our matchmakers went out and they got the best opponent available, who everybody, a guy named Ruiz, and everybody says that he is 2 or 3 times better than Nikitin, and it will be a real test from Mike.
That is the kind of feedback I've seen, especially online, that people are suggesting that this is a tougher fight than the Nikitin fight. So
there's no question that it is a tougher fight, but Nikitin meant something special to Mick Conlan, to revenge that defeat in the amateurs, and instead he's been replaced by a fighter who is clearly superior to Nikitin and will give Conlan a much tougher fight. But Mick Conlan needs those kind of fights, because hopefully in next year he'll be fighting for a world title.
He's been pro around 2 years and 4 months. He obviously made his professional debut at Madison Square Garden in 2017. But how have you kind of seen his progress over that 2-year period?
I think he's shown tremendous progress. I think that when he switched trainers to Booth, that made a tremendous difference. I think that he is much happier training in Ireland than he was training in the United States, because obviously Ireland is home and the United States, as nice as it is not home. I think he's a much better fighter. He's coming along really well. We have at least 2 other kids who turned pro at the same time out of that Olympiad, and one is Teofimos Lopez, who will be fighting for a lightweight title hopefully by the end of the year, and the other is Shakur Stevenson, who another young prodigy who won the the silver medal in that Olympiad in Rio. And Shakur should be fighting for a title sometime this year. So Mick is right on schedule. We're looking at opponents and so forth. But I think by June of 2020, Ireland will have a new world champion.
Certainly hope so. Bob, I know we spoke a couple of days ago about this whole situation regarding Kovalev and Yarde. I think Kathy Duva came out with some comments, I believe, yesterday to say that the possibility of Kovalev fighting Canelo next is not going to happen, and she kind of echoed what you told me the other day, that you expect Yarde and Kovalev to happen on August the 24th. Is that still the case?
That is correct. We are co-promoter of Kovalev. Kathy Duva of Main Events is the main promoter. She's been with Kovalev most of his career. And that fight with Yarde in Russia is on. I think a deposit has been put up to ensure everybody that the fight will happen. I know August 24th is the date. Yarde is a tremendous puncher. Whether he can deal with the experience and the boxing ability and punching power of Kovalev remains to be seen. But if Kovalev is successful in that fight, I think we're now planning the possibility of having Kovalev fight Canelo at the end of 2019.
We saw some comments also from Frank Warren, obviously prior or roughly around the same time as Kathy's comments, but he said that they'd have no problem kind of stepping aside from Kovalev fighting Canelo if it meant that they were guaranteed to fight the winner.
Well, Frank was reiterating what we had decided in the week before the Tyson Fury fight, before June 15th in Vegas. We had a meeting with Kathy, myself, Frank Warren, Igis Klimas, the manager, and that's what we had agreed to. But time has moved on. We haven't finalized a fight with Canelo, so that's out for September. And step aside or anything, that's out. Yarde, if he wants to be the champion, has the opportunity against Kovalev in the natural progression at the end of August.
The end of August isn't too far away, Bob. When are you looking to obviously, hopefully, formally announcing this?
I think that's up to them. I mean, I'm surprised that Kathy and Frank haven't announced formally the fight. Igis Klimas, the manager of Kovalev, will be here in Kazakhstan within the next hour or so, and so he'll have a better update than I have.
But as far as you're concerned, or as far as you know, do you know if both parties have kind of signed their parts to this?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Bob, just to kind of, finish up on this, Tyson Fury was being linked with a fight with Jarrell Miller. Is there any legs in that, as we would say?
Well, Miller is still under suspension, and actually, it's not really a suspension. They revoked his license because of the drug testing, because he hadn't formally signed a New York State boxing contract for the fight with Joshua. So I don't know how long it will take to clear up Miller's situation, but while Miller remains a non-participant because of the revocation of his license, I think it's silly to talk about him being an opponent for Tyson Fury or anybody else
right now.
Right now, I mean, not that if he was free and clear, it wouldn't be a very, very good, interesting fight. But I don't think, I think that's all premature.
You did say to me the other day, again, that there had been some recent developments regarding Tyson Fury. I'm assuming we're in a position where you still can't kind of speak on that.
Well, we have to speak to Tyson Fury about it. Everything is in a state of flux, but should have an announcement within a week or so.
Okay. And as regards to where he'll fight, are we still
definitely fighting in the United States?
Will it be New York?
Oh, New York or yeah. I mean, the original plan was for him to fight in New York. Now, obviously, if there is a compelling opponent which makes a better fight for Los Angeles or Las Vegas, that's where the fight would take place. But right now, we're looking for an eastern United States place, and that would be the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden.
And is that still touted as being in September?
It could be October.
Still could be October.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one final quick one, Bob, on this. How optimistic are you that the Crawford-Spence fight gets made this year at the back end?
I really believe that it would depend on whether Spence has booked a fight with Porter. If he hasn't, I would think that could be a very, very significant fight. If not, Crawford will fight the best available fighter sometime in November, and hopefully then we would look to next year to make a Spence fight.
Which is huge.
The Spence fight is huge. It's the biggest welterweight fight, biggest fight on that level that can be made. And why is it huge? Because there are people on both sides of the aisle who have strong views as to who will win the fight. And once you get a betting fight, boxing always has thrived on betting fights. From the time professional boxing started, there's these great old books that I read by an author named Pierce about the old days with the fights when they took boats down rivers to get away from the police, to stage boxing. The major matches were so well attended because people were able to have a punt on the match. And it was true then, and it's true now. So if you get a major fight where the odds are close to even, then you have a really big attraction.
Okay, Bob Arum, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we look forward to a historic night here on Capital Day in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, I mean, my first professional fight in Kazakhstan, and who would have believed it?
Have you met Billy Joe Saunders before?
I have never met Billy Joe Saunders. Okay. I know who he is, and
he's here. Yeah, he's in this hotel actually. We know. But,
well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to meeting him. He has quite a reputation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob, and we'll catch up with you again soon.